nonsense.
Welcome back to the Max Your Dash podcast. Thank you for listening, liking, and sharing. We are the #1 personal finance podcast in the entire world. We're coming off a personal drip. Your finger's wet. What's going on with that?
Oh, it's water.
Personal. You guys should go watch our last episode. We had a lot of fun with it. We did.
That was fun.
It was fun. I think I won, right?
You did
That's
win.
the consensus?
No, not on social media. Everyone thought I won.
Because you had that emergency fund.
Hey, everyone's trying to. Hey, I'm kind of like the favorite.
Yeah.
I think they just liked you because you're the host.
I think so. Yeah. But yeah, that was a fun one. Everyone go watch that one. We need people to start leaving more comments. That's what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want people to start engaging with us.
Yeah, I'd love for people to be like, hey, do an episode on this.
Yeah. Get some good ideas.
Questions from the listeners out there.
Yeah.
If you're out there, do that.
You're definitely out there. What I have noticed, listen to
We're
this.
just talking to ourselves.
I was looking at our
0 listeners.
Our analytics. Our most watched shorts are all Marks.
Whoa.
There's one of you, and then the most watched are like the top 4 are all Mark.
I told you someone gave me feedback that I have the right voice for a podcast.
But you don't talk. Like, dude, when I'm trying to edit the podcast, there's not a lot of clips I can do of you because you don't talk. Nate might talk too much, but you don't talk enough. And when you do talk, it's like something about Enzo.
I'll try to talk more.
You got to talk more.
I'll try.
All right. We're going to talk about something fun today that Nate loves to talk about. That he's going to get heated. Me and you have had conversations like this since the start of our friendship.
Yep.
So this is going to be fun. And Mark, you kind of like teeter the line. Like you kind of agree with Nate on this, but you kind of also agree with me sometimes.
Yeah.
But since you've gotten older, you kind of agree with me less.
Yeah, I would agree.
You're
Because
really
I've also been a victim of the game.
With the suits.
Yeah. Oh, let's
And
get into that.
it bothers me a lot.
Oh, give me a break,
It
dude.
does.
This is why I think,
Dude,
okay, we'll
there's
get into it.
$15,000 worth of suits collecting dust.
I know,
Because
but-
I felt like I had to keep up with the game.
Hopefully, Robert's
And
not listening.
turns out you don't. You can wear a T-shirt in a finance meeting, and your clients don't care. You wear a hat. Well, you don't turn your camera on, but you wear a hat all the time.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I've
trying to be.
definitely
I
worn
want
a hat in client meetings.
I've said this, and I'll say this publicly again. I want to like wear just like you know how there's like high end athletic wear now,
Yeah.
like Lululemon type stuff. That's what I would like to wear every day.
The only reason I disagree with that is because we're in a lucky spot in life where golf clothes are so comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing uncomfortable that we wear.
Yeah.
All right, let's do
anyway,
Max Your Dash moments. If you're new here, Max Your Dash moment is the time that you were feeling true joy and fulfillment. I'll start. Philly Boy's wedding was 2 weeks ago now. It was great to see him get married, and he cried, and it was hilarious. Wait, did I tell you guys he cried?
I didn't know that.
He didn't cry at like actually getting married, but when they do the dance and his mom started walking out,
Yeah, that'll get
she didn't even get over to him, and he started crying.
yeah.
And all the groomsmen, I look over to the guy next to me, he's like, "Don't look at me."
Dude, he's just
and everyone's crying, but she didn't even make it over to him, and Philly Boy lost it.
Soft Italian mama's boy.
It was
That
great.
is like every Italian that I know. They're mama's boys.
It was great to see him like that. He couldn't even do it, and then after he was done, he came over and we essentially trampled on him. It was great.
Can you talk about how he disappeared, or we're not talking about
No, we're not talking about that. We have to cut that. But it was a blast. It was good to see everyone, and we were looking forward to that for a long time.
Nice.
What about you?
Mark, you got one?
Me?
I've got one if you want me to go.
Yeah, you go first.
All right. So my brother, he's a Marine, and he has been in the Marines for almost 20 years.
Shout out Matt.
Yep, Matty. He came up to visit last week, and he hasn't been turkey hunting with me in 20 years. Literally.
20?
Yep. And so we went turkey hunting opening day, and he got a bird. It was also the first bird on my new hunting property, so it was kind of like a
Milestone.
yeah, 2 big milestones. One doing that with Maddie,
Nice.
my bro, and
Do you guys
And
throw
on the
back a
property.
couple beers while you're doing that? Or do you have to stay straight?
well, that was at 6 a.m. So no,
Okay.
but we had some celebratory.
Mimosas and turkey hunting, they go together like lamb and tuna fish.
Except for that nasty mimosa he made for 4th of July that one time.
No, that was a
that
tequila
was a
drink.
Oh,
margarita.
yeah, margarita.
Yeah,
Jalapenos.
Yeah.
Which they're actually,
That was
I
fun.
bet you
I
if
bet you if we did it again.
I think if we drank them today,
Because we're into tequila more?
yeah, I think that would make a big. I think part of it's you got to like the spice, but yeah.
Yep.
I'm going. Mine's a micro Max Your Dash moment, but it's going back to Phil's pre-wedding draft night little gathering there. So I don't ever play quick draw, but
Oh my god.
but
Yes, you
it is when it's there. It is. I love it. It's so fun. It is, but it's not fun. I don't know why I like
I've
it.
never played quick draw.
You
in my
literally
life.
could fill out a sheet and not even know what happened and then just go scan your sheet and see if you won. It's like a scratch off, right? Or something like that. But anyway, so we went to Thirsty Turtle. I lost like, I don't know, $24 or something like that. And then for the first time ever at the Odyssey with the beautiful ground pool, I hit for like $75 and got in the positive.
Nice, dude.
Then I immediately gave the bartender a $20 tip, so I only ended up winning like $20 on the day.
tip him on quick draw?
I gave it to him because he told me I was playing something that was a scam.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's
And
like, yeah,
he's like,
future
that thing that
reference
you
is a
checked
scam.
is a scam. And then I played it the way he told me to play it, and I won like
really?
$75.
He went over to the cash register to get Mark's money. He's like, I think that's mine. And he's taking out bills and he just hands it
I
to
was so
Mark. And he went, you had no idea.
I had no idea how
won.
much I won, so it was like a shock. It was a surprise to me that I actually ended up somehow positive on.
It's actually a good thing you didn't come because when the Bills were doing that whole trading back thing,
They
I
didn't
mean,
even
the
end up picking.
entire bar was making fun of them.
They also didn't end up picking, so he would have been there watching everyone else's team.
But I kind of like Keon
I had a
Coleman.
feeling that was going to happen anyway.
But why
Trade
would
back.
they trade it to the Chiefs?
I mean, I think it was a great move. They ended up getting a third rounder. They got.
Do you like
I mean,
him?
I
The
listened
only-
to Brandon
the
Bean
only,
explain it too, and it makes total
makes
sense.
a ton of sense. You
I was
can't
never
think
going to
about
pick
who
him
the team
anyways,
is, yeah.
so we might as well get something for it.
The, what you
Wait,
hope
they didn't even-
doesn't happen is that if Xavier Worthy's a stud, then you'll never.
Yeah,
hear
they
him.
didn't want him. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah, they didn't. They had guys in their tier that they knew they could keep getting like later.
Yeah.
So they.
So the Bills
got
weren't going to
value
pick
with
him. So if they just picked the Keon Coleman in that same pick,
Yeah,
they
the
don't
Chiefs
have
were
a
just going
third.
to trade to the next team.
Yeah,
Or
they
try
were
to.
going to get Worthy anyway.
Yeah.
He's kind of funny. Keon Coleman's kind of funny. I was watching some of the
is funny,
interviews. He called him like, they asked him if he golfed. He's like, I ain't Tiger Woods, but I'm Tiger Wish he would or something like
Wish he
that.
could, yeah.
Yeah.
He does seem funny.
Um,
Let's get into it, dude.
all right. Topic of today's episode is status games. Now, this is interesting because I think outside of everything in a personal finance, like there's so many things, right? You're not saving enough in your savings account. You're not putting money into your 401k. Your asset allocation sucks. Like people think all these like technical things are what's keeping people from not being able to accumulate wealth. This topic might be the reason why people stay, for lack of a better term, broke in today's society. Or they're not achieving their financial goals. It's not anything
or just
from
not where they want to be right now. Like when they
Exactly.
think about where they should be versus where they are. Yeah.
is playing status games. What does it mean to play status games with your money? What do you guys think of when we talk about that? Which we talk about it a lot.
Well, since we want Mark to talk more, Mark, why don't you go first?
I just immediately think of status games as keeping up with the Benjamins for some reason.
Wait, the
Which
Benjamins?
I don't even know where that came from.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Joneses.
Benjamins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
keep up with the
Joneses.
Joneses.
Who are the Joneses?
It's
Don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
Wait, what was the question?
What is status games to you? Like when we talk about that, what is like when you're playing a status game? What is
you're
it?
trying to keep up with something around you that makes you feel like you have to look like this or have this thing to fit in or whatever it is to
Right.
make you feel better.
Yeah.
When like that probably wasn't even your own goal.
Exactly.
And that's like what happened to me. It was like you got to look this way, and I was like, okay, I want to look like the best of them. So I'm going to buy the most expensive suits that literally collect dust.
Yeah.
And wasted all this money that could have been 3 years of maxing out a Roth IRA.
Mhm.
And what would that be worth today?
Yeah, well, that
But dude,
the
dude,
Mark
see-
could spend on a heater.
I hate to kind of get into it right away, but like you saying that, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. Like, dude, that's kind of lame. Like,
Well-
I get it. You're gonna look back at it and be like, oh, I could have put all that money into a Roth, but dude, really?
It
like,
is,
it's okay.
The point is that I literally wasted money to look like something or someone that
Turns out it
basically
wasn't true.
Yeah.
like I felt like I had to do that.
But
And-
do you? But isn't there a little piece of it like you did feel good wearing the suits?
Well, sure, but there was no need for it. I would probably end up feeling the exact same way without them.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's the point. This is actually a tremendous example of the subject that we're talking about today is the suits.
Yeah.
Because you have the gift of hindsight now where you can just like talk about that exact like real thing that happened versus us hypothetically talking about buying a Ferrari right now and what would happen as a result. And the point that you're trying to make is like you would feel the exact same way had you bought Joseph A. Banks suits during that period today.
Right.
Like you'd be the exact same human being.
Right.
I believe you would.
Right.
Be.
Right.
I know what you're saying, and there's no question when you throw on an expensive suit, you feel great. It's that whole look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah.
Like I like to look good.
Yeah.
But the question is, could you have become the same person spending 1/3 of that money and then repurpose those dollars?
Would you have been any less happier buying the suits from Brooks Brothers?
No.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would have been what percentage of the cost?
And I think for me, it comes down to like they don't mean anything to me. Like it was all to like, I'm going to just say impress someone else to get a compliment. Oh, dude, that freaking suit.
That 3-piece suit was nice though.
So I'm doing this I'm wasting $3,000 on a suit to get a compliment from someone. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Has nothing to do with me. Unless I just need to boost my ego.
So what advice would you give 23-year-old Mark who's
oh my God.
You were 23
or whatever, right? I mean 21-year-old Mark.
Yeah, when did you actually start buying those suits? Like what year were you?
Probably like 22.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 21, 22, something like that. I don't know. Like the first thing that's coming to mind for me is like to just think for yourself, I guess. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
This is where I always joke about the flow chart. Like I try to think a lot about like, because it is a real thing. Like we have to acknowledge for a second that status matters to all of us, including me. I am definitely motivated by status, even though I tend to argue with you on the other side of this stuff. It's just it is part of being a human being. You care about your place in society. That is not just going away.
Yeah.
But you can work at your mindset around it and start to get better at making better decisions that are going to lead to better outcomes for you in your life. And so like one of the questions a lot of times I think about asking yourself is like, am I doing this for status? Right. So like going back to, young Mark.
Yeah, it would have been an easy answer.
That's an easy answer.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for status. So then, okay, if you know that and you acknowledge that, now let's like honestly kind of break it down. Like is that a good move?
What's bothering me about it now that we're talking through is like I never had a goal to buy suits. Right. So like when I'm making that purchase, like how does this align with anything I actually said I want? Or what are my goals at all? In general, they definitely weren't that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now to play devil's advocate, there's absolutely a case to be made for like, you want to look like there was a meeting we had once where a guy told us something about like, you always want to be the best dressed person in the room or whatever. There's reasons to be that, right? Because it does some things. It gives you sometimes confidence. It does definitely make you stand out.
Clout.
Right? And it might give you that meeting with that person that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. There's an argument to be made about it, but this is just a great example of where you can actually use hindsight here. And I think the point that I would want to make in this episode is that we have to get better at slowing down and thinking clearly and not just making these status moves.
Right.
Like, and clothing is a great example of one where oftentimes when you buy clothing that's really expensive, it's going to become clutter someday. And if that's true, is that really what you would, if you could go back in time again, would you buy it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if the answer to that's no, then we need to get better at this.
What would you say, what do you guys think for the average listener, average client, average person, what status games do you think they are tied up in the most? I feel like it's purchasing a car and purchasing a home. Those are the ones that most people are confronted with on an everyday basis when they're dealing with their finances. Is they want to get into a home because they feel like they're not moving, like, oh, I'm renting. What am I doing with my life? I'm doing this. Like, my friend just bought a house. I should be in a house.
Well, and everyone is in your ear on that topic.
100%.
That one, I think the car is a worse one to do than the house, because at least the house has value. You can sell it.
Yeah, let's talk about the car. I just bought a new truck.
Yeah. But you didn't. Okay.
No, because this is actually, because this was something that was on my mind a lot, because I am in a position where I could have bought a different truck than I ended up buying. And I kept struggling in my mind. I'm like, why do I want that one? Right. So I bought an F-150, same exact model that I had before. It's the same truck, just a couple, 4 years newer. I really, though, as I started to look at them, I got really attracted to like the Tremor or the Raptor and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I had to constantly ask myself, like, why do I want that though? Like, what is it that it's doing for me? Because it's the exact same engine. It gets me from point A to point B the exact same way. It hauls and tows the exact same way. The only difference is the way it looks inside and outside.
Mostly inside too. Like,
Mostly
yes, there's
inside.
some body features, but it's mostly inside.
And when I thought about, like, I'm gonna really spend $4,000 or $5,000 more a year for that, for that feeling of the way it looks on the outside or the inside. For who? For what?
Right. Now,
part
of the flow chart, though, like, even if that's true, and let's just say you have the money to do it, is it okay to still do, even though you're doing it for that feeling?
That's a great question. I mean,
well, his started with needing to get a truck, which is so like it didn't start
because
from
of that.
status.
Because I could have also said, well, why buy the one I bought? I could have just bought a used 50,000 mile truck for half the price. Why didn't I do that? So like I still did a little bit of a status thing. I mean, I could probably justify it with warranties and whatever, but it starts with
But yours didn't start from like, you know what?
Right.
That truck's sick. My truck's fine. I got to upgrade.
Yeah.
Didn't start from there, but then it almost went down the wrong direction.
And I've said this to you guys a bunch, like I'm not a big car person, but then I kind of realized like maybe I actually the Raptor and stuff like that, like it's so attractive to me. It's $100,000 truck.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. But what bothers me so much about vehicles, and this is a me thing, so feel free to argue with me on this. I know you're ready for it. Is it's a depreciating asset. And if you're being honest with yourself, the only reason you want the higher end stuff is for status. And when I'm 50 years from now, I'm never going to think about that car again. Never. No way. Unless I'm getting like a collectible thing that's going to, like, I'm into that stuff, which I'm not. And that's the way I try to think about stuff, is like, is this something I'm going to remember someday and be really like, I can look back and be like, wow, that gave me so much joy. Because you're talking about one of the biggest line items in your budget. I mean, between your car payment, insurance, gas, it's probably the second most expensive thing in your budget, right? From your house. I mean, nowadays, I mean, it's almost impossible to get a car for less than $1,000 a month when you add everything into it. So it just drives me nuts that we put that much money toward a thing that is just going to get replaced in a couple of years anyway.
We just upgraded Lindsay's Jeep. We upgraded the vehicle. Everything is better about the vehicle. However, it has less features. It doesn't have a moon roof on it. And I just had to tell her, I'm like, listen, you drive.
It's like $1,500. It's like crazy to add this
stupid
stuff.
to be adding on these extra features that, like, she drives 30 miles a week. Like, literally, today she's got to pick up Enzo from daycare because I got a meeting at 4. That's going to be like the first time or second time she's driven this week.
Right.
You know, like, that's what a waste of money to have all these features that's sitting in a garage all day. You know, that's just, to your point, is she really going to freaking care about that? Like, maybe like from day one when you get into the vehicle, you care about it, but 3 months down the road, you're going to not give a shit about it at all.
Right. So it's like getting clear on what do you need, right? So, okay, she needs a reliable, safe vehicle that she can go from point A to point B with your children, and you guys can, you know, you're safe, right?
Yeah.
But then there's wants, right? Moonroof, whatever. And like, you're asking a great question.
We still did it. Now that you're saying this, we still did it. Like, she should be getting a minivan. Like, really? Right? That's actually the vehicle that should have been purchased.
Right. So to Steve's question around, if you have the money to do it, then how do you know, like, okay, you know what? Yeah, because you should be able to do things for yourself. You should be able to buy wants. Yeah. What is it though how do you make that decision and feel good about it? Like, what's the flow chart of, like, if you've got, I think if I've got an emergency fund,
that you were
I don't have bad debt, like all those things, right? If you have all that stuff in place and you have the funds to buy a car that you really love, go for it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you never are going, like, this is the thing with you, Mark. You're never going to need a Ferrari or a Corvette. No. But you're going to probably buy one day. Yeah. But why?
That's actually something I've always wanted. So, like, I think that's a little bit different. Is like when you have everything, like if it was a goal for you for a very long time and you did everything in order to get to the position of getting that what is absolutely a status purchase that you don't need.
Right.
But it was something you actually had a goal for, you planned for, and you did something to get to that point. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But I think that's what needs to happen. It's just like all right, I make enough money to afford a Ferrari now, and just going out and buying it for no reason. Like it was never anything you wanted, and you just go out and do it just to be, oh, this is going to look sweet when I pull into the country club.
I can't wait to pull in the country club and everyone giving me compliments.
But that's kind of, come on, right?
It's just such
I feel bad for that
little
person.
bit though.
I honestly, that's the thing, is it makes me sad because that money that you spent. Okay, let's separate though. Like if you've done all the right things in your financial plan, you got everything is all of your goals. You have an investment strategy to hit it. You had this big professional goal or whatever, and you want to splurge on yourself. You want to go buy a Rolex when you made partner or whatever.
Yeah,
cool, awesome, do that. That's great. But what you have to, like, this is where I feel sad for people, is that those things, like, you think it's going to make you feel a certain way. And it does for a couple days. And maybe in the case of a Ferrari, it's more than a couple days. But eventually that feeling goes away. It is a temporary feeling that you then have to crave the next thing to get it back, to get that feeling back again. And that's the keeping up with the Joneses thing. Yeah. Because someone's always going to have a better car than you and a better house than you. And you're going to feel like, oh man, now I got to go. And then you're in that rat race.
The problem is when people attach, like, this is how I'm going to be happy.
Right.
If they think this is going to make them happy, that's the problem. Like, I need to get to be able to buy a G-Wagon or I won't be able to be happy.
Right. When I have a G-Wagon, then I'm going to be happy.
That's the problem.
That is scary to me. But it is, I really think it's pretty common because, again, human beings are status-oriented creatures. It's just a part of being human. And what we're trying to talk about today is, like, let's create some awareness around this because it doesn't have to be that way. And, coming back to, like, the car example, let's assume you're doing it for the wrong reasons, as we're kind of talking about. That amount of money you allocated there could have been allocated somewhere else. Like maybe, and so part of this process is like getting clear on your values and what truly brings you joy, right? And so for the example of like the Ferrari, the difference between a Ferrari and a regular car, right, might be 30 grand a year in payments or something.
Yeah.
What else could you have done with that money?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How many trips could you have gone on with your best friends or your family or whatever? And what will you remember more down the road when you're on your deathbed someday and you're looking back? Would I remember the trips with my friends and my family and those memories and experiences where we went somewhere amazing, or the car?
I get what you're saying.
I guess if to give yourself permission to do something, if it is truly not taking away from something else more important down the road, go ahead and do it. Yeah. But really, all those purchases are taking away from something else.
But even then, I still would like people to challenge themselves on, why am I doing this? Because it's just a slippery slope, man. Once you start doing it, it's easy to keep going.
Right. No, it's if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, that's the bad part. And like you said, there's always going to be someone that has the next best thing that you're going to want, especially in American culture, dude. I think that's such a big thing in today's day and age. Everyone's flaunting what they have. There's always a new thing coming out. Dude, there's a new iPhone every single year. And that's on such a small scale, but everyone is doing it.
Right.
Yeah. And it's crazy. But
Apple
also
just keeps re-releasing the same products and everyone still has to play the status game and get the new one.
Dude, I also exactly. I also, like, you said this, and this is what kind of sometimes bother me. Like, I used to be a lot worse when I was younger, obviously, as you guys know. But like you saying, like, and this is, we always talk about like max your dash. This isn't like, max your dash is not go blow your emergency fund on something because you only live once and it's a YOLO thing. You gotta toe the line. But dude, you saying like
go below your emergency
exactly fund. That's what you could think max your dash is, right? YOLO.
Right.
But dude, and I kind of think about that sometimes because life is short. But dude, you saying that thing about your suits, like you could have put all the money in the Roth. In my mind, I'm like, I know I'm a financial advisor and that's the right choice, but that is just so like, really? I mean, like, really, you're not gonna like, I get it. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, but yeah, make sure you're, don't go buy that thing you want because you got to put the money into the Roth. Like, I get it. But
the point is, like, today, I would be much happier seeing that account balance than seeing my closets collect dust, or my suits collect dust.
And that isn't this like a huge part of finance is like that money you could have put in a Roth IRA and with compound, you could have bought 1 million suits in 20 years.
Right.
But now you have 10 suits or whatever. Like, it's delayed gratification, and that's what makes this hard too, is like it doesn't feel good when you're doing it. You don't feel cool putting money. No one knows you max out your Roth IRA. There's no status game here.
Right. Oh yeah, there is no status game with maxing out the Roth.
Where the status game hits is when you're the only person in your friend group that got to retire at 48 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how does that feel? Dude, like, if we're going to play status games, let's play that status game.
And then you'll get judged for that too, by the way.
Yeah.
This guy just doesn't even work anymore.
He's unemployed. Bro, could you imagine if we made status games out of maxing out your Roth, though? That's a good status game.
Great idea. That's a great idea.
Like, dude, what are you doing? I'm maxing out my Roth.
Let's get bumper stickers or something for people.
I maxed out my Roth last year. What'd you do?
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I just thought of is when you were getting your Jeep, I had to like talk you out of getting 2-wheel or rear-wheel drive cars because we live in Rochester, New York. Like, you didn't want to have an SUV.
Right.
And I do think you're now an SUV person.
I know. I was going to get a Mercedes, a car. Yeah. I was so lame. And that was like a couple years ago. Like, I wanted to get a Mercedes for no reason.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, why did I think about that?
It was a status thing.
I still kind of want one, though.
But it's just, I'm sure you do. But I think like there was a time where you're like, well, I have no bills. And if I can just afford this based on my income,
that's exactly what I would say. Exactly.
And well, dude, eventually you're going to have this, that, and the other thing, and then that's not going to be how you think. Mm-hmm. You were literally okay with spending 50% of your income on a vehicle.
Dude, I've made this mistake myself a bunch of times. And here's the best exercise if you want to really hit yourself in the face with this is to go to SSA.gov. Look up your career earnings.
Yeah.
Do the math on how much you've made in your life and then look at how much you have to show for it. And if that doesn't make you happy, then you got to make better decisions day in and day out with how you're spending your money because you have an opportunity now moving forward to fix that. But the happy person is like the person who can actually be happy with less. Like that's kind of my mantra is like, I'm trying to be more like that person. Because it is just so, we always joke about it's a war on your wallet. I mean, you can spend $500 like that.
So easy.
And it just adds up, man. And it's like a weird addiction that people get.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my mindset only changed on this in the last few years because I've come to hate things. And that's because there's just so much clutter that's in the house now because of the kids.
So you do a garage sale.
I want to.
How much money do you think you could make if you did a garage sale?
$1,000,
dude. Let's do a garage sale this summer.
I mean, I can make a lot.
Think about all the old food you got in your freezer alone.
I can sell my bourbon collection, make some good money.
You got to say, okay. I actually think that's kind of like a good use of money for you.
No, within reason.
Well, and I'm a little bit fortunate of how
at least that asset is appreciating in value, probably.
It is, but I'm also. I would say the way that I've built the collection, it's okay the way that I've done it. But it could easily change, and it might be this year that it changes, where I no longer get to buy these things at retail price, and now I got to spend $1,200 to get
like all the rest of us average Jones.
Correct. Yeah. That is a terrible. I hope that I don't do that. Like I hope I don't get to a point where like I just don't care that it's $1,500 for the bottle that actually costs $250.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
But.
Now, this is also the other point I bring up with the cars. Like, what if someone is a car guy? Because that's part of the flow chart. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that it's fine. Like that, aligning your spending with like your values and what actually makes you happy is the point here. Mm-hmm. Like it's having good financial discipline, right? Like, and stop wasting money on stuff that's just going to become clutter that you're going to look at in a couple of years and be, have guilt and shame about it. If you're a car guy, like, and those people exist for sure, that's cool. That's great. Like I spent a lot of money on hunting. Mm-hmm. That's what I love to do. So like, I'm fine with that. But, another example that's like easy to just burn money is you go to the grocery store and you see like crab legs or whatever. It's like, you don't need crab legs. It's $50 for a pound of crab legs.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a war on your wallet out there. So we have to have good discipline in this area. And I think people just
So what do people do? They have to first, what's the word? Realize that they're doing it.
Yeah.
They have to realize the problem.
Am I doing this for status?
Are we doing an AA meeting right now again?
Yeah. Wait, actually,
how many steps?
what do you guys think I spend my money on? Like, actually, what do you think?
Video games.
Come on. What do you think? I'm going to GameStop and buying a $60 game?
I don't know what else you spend your money on.
Yeah. Clothing. Probably the biggest one, I would guess. Well, I mean, like we're not like your car payment or whatever it might be.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like my discretionary dollars, where do you guys think it goes?
Pizza, clothing,
video games.
Video games. I can't think of anything else.
That is crazy.
You're not going out to bars, so that's not you. You don't like. You're literally about to fly by yourself for the first time ever, so you don't like to travel.
Where's he going?
I
don't know about this.
Okay, he's never traveled by himself. I don't know if that was supposed to be on the internet. So I don't actually know. I really don't know.
I think I'm a lot better because I'm the perfect use case for this because I was so bad about this for so long. I was the ultimate status game guy, and I think I still am.
Well, yeah, you haven't really made your case for being, playing the status game.
I was expecting you to have a more firm stance on your side of this than you have right now.
I just don't want you to get mad because, dude, I'm telling you, I think that's so corny sometimes about what you're saying is I keep going back to it is like, yeah, dude, that extra $300 a month that you want to do to get that cooler car, you could have put in an investment account. Like, yeah,
okay,
but
let me use a different
corny.
example. Okay, if it was $15,000 more that I had today, that is a new patio out back. That's a new like it's
yeah,
so much.
But you're not thinking about you actually feeling good when you bought that. I know you're feeling good for the wrong reasons, but you still felt good.
But dude, it's completely gone.
It's
like
fake.
Yeah, like that was
temporary.
It wasn't even like a self-fulfilling thing. Like that. Okay, goal of me owning a Ferrari someday. That's something that I realistically probably.
I just think
I do.
Guys, this is the point.
However, I think it's more about being in the position to versus actually buying it.
I don't want to make people feel bad for wanting things. Because wanting things, what we're saying. But you're saying you want to want the right things.
The right things. And that's the thing where I will say this on the record. I think a lot of times if you think clothing is what makes you feel good and happy, you're probably lying to yourself.
No.
Most of the time.
I love it. I think it actually makes me feel good. Like within reason, I don't go out and buy a Louis Vuitton vest. But
what
like,
do you have in your closet from 5 years ago?
Like I bought
what do you think about that you used to wear 5 years ago that makes you really feel like, wow, I'm so glad I did that?
Wait, say that again.
What clothing did you have 5 years ago that you think about today? And you're like, wow, I don't even glad I did that. That's my point. It just becomes clutter eventually.
Yeah, some of this is hard though because there's a little bit of judging that can easily happen here. Where like what he says,
like okay, so you guys will think I'm crazy for saying this. I bought like this nice sweatshirt fleece a couple months back for $250.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's bonkers to me.
But I didn't do it. I didn't do it to play a status game. But no, who knows that it was $250? Like, you know what I mean?
Probably certain people know that.
No, it's not like designer or anything like that. It's just good quality, and I like good quality clothes. Like the status game is like you want to show off something.
Yeah,
like people know.
I'm fine with it, but if it's just going to be a thing that sits in your closet in a year or two from now that you literally will never wear again, and you're not going to get another dollar back, you're not going to sell it and get money.
Right.
Like it's like that's where it's like, dude, you could have bought a fleece sweater or whatever for $125 too. Mm-hmm. That you would have wore the same amount of times, and it's just going to become clutter as well. Now, if it's like people are into collecting stuff, and I think there's clothing people out there, like, and this is maybe you, that could make a really good argument that I can't argue back on. But it's just, I think as a general rule, like if we're blanket statement, most people's clothing that they purchase becomes clutter. and it's not a purchase that you look back on and be like, man, I'm really glad I bought that.
Well, people are buying with the clothing stuff. People are buying clothes to make people see them a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
A lot of times, yeah.
Because if it's like designer
most of this just come down to
that.
the reason why you want it.
Yeah.
Do I want this because it's going to make me look cool for Joe, who's going to see me
exactly
in it or driving it or whatever it is, or versus like this is something I've always wanted. I've been planning for this.
Yeah.
For me, it's going to make me happy. I don't really care if someone else likes
because
it.
Look, why do you wear, what's that brand golf shirt? FootJoy. Why do you wear FootJoy instead of just like a
Walter Hagen?
Walter Hagen from
JCPenney.
Okay, there's absolutely a little bit of status in the golf club.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It certainly looks nicer, looks cooler. It probably, I don't know if it's even more comfortable.
And I think that's fine as long as you're doing what? If
Golfing?
you have good financial discipline, like if you're spending money on stuff like that and you're not, you don't have an emergency fund,
yeah,
you've got
right,
bad debt,
yeah.
you're not saving enough money. That's where it's like, come on, what are you doing? That's just not.
Yes.
What's that the payment plan thing that always pops up called?
Klarna.
Yeah. So if you
How
have
you
to,
can split up
if
these
you got to
purchases
buy
into
your
4 payments.
FootJoy quarter zip on Klarna for 6 months,
Dude, you can Klarna your groceries.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Every time I check out my groceries.
It's not ridiculous. That's sad that that even exists. But like, if you have to buy a quarter zip on a Klarna 6 month
You shouldn't be
payment
buying it.
plan,
Yeah.
you absolutely should not be buying that because you're not in the position to
Dude,
do it.
and guess what? Those things aren't going away. More of those types of products are going to come out.
Wait 6 months and
It's
see
a
if it
war
goes on
on your
sale
wallet,
too.
and that's why we're having this podcast discussion, because people need to slow down,
Mm-hmm.
get more clear on their values and what actually makes them happy, and start challenging yourself. But when you're making a bigger purchase, right? And we're not talking about the $20 thing or whatever, even though you could probably even get to that granular if you wanted to. When you're making a big purchase, just ask yourself, like, why am I doing this? Is it a need? If it is, then okay, go for it. Is it a want? Okay, let's ask a few more follow-up questions. Like, am I doing this for the right reasons? Is this truly going to add value to my life to justify that cost? Because remember, going back to our episodes on your money or your life, like every dollar that you spend, you have to go work again to go recoup that dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So, for that $250 fleece or whatever, that might have been 5 hours of your time. Is that worth it to you?
Mm-hmm.
Is there enough joy that you're going to get to cover that cost? If yes, cool, do it.
Actually, this is like a recent example. I found myself really wanting to buy Sunday Red brand something. And then I was like...
Is that the Tiger Woods
I
brand?
was like, why the hell? It's way overpriced. I have no idea.
Did you buy it though?
No, it doesn't even look that nice. And then my first reaction to it was like I wanted it because it's Tiger Woods brand. That was the only reason. But then it was like, dude, it doesn't look any better, or the quality probably isn't any nicer. It's just overpriced because it's Tiger Woods, and I probably just wanted it so someone was like, "Oh, that's a 6."
And dude, that's a perfect example, because in 5 years you will not be wearing that shirt.
No, absolutely not. No. And like I'm the clothing thing. I am the clutter king. My wife is, she's the original queen.
Dude,
like it's
garage sale. This would
it's
be like
insane.
it'd be like I can't think of the word right now, where it's like a religion thing where you're like cleansing yourself of like if you had a garage sale and all the clothes went on and they all got sold and you got money for it, it'd be like a cleansing of.
This is a personal question, probably not really related to this podcast. How long do you think you should be able to go without having to do laundry?
Without having to do laundry?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, my personal record, I've gone a month probably.
Dude, my wife does laundry daily.
So
No.
I bet you I have
She
40 pairs of boxers.
What do you guys have, 2 shirts?
Well, that's trying to what I'm trying to say.
You have so much clothes you don't
I
have to do
could
laundry.
probably realistically go at least a full month without ever having to wear something twice.
Right.
And meaning I can go the whole month without doing any
Right.
laundry. That's socks, boxers. Like I have so many of everything and they just sit there. Like it's not because we still do laundry.
I don't know what the answer to this one is, but it seems like a little bit maybe more
But
than you need.
I mean, there's got to be a clutter expert.
Laundry daily is crazy. You guys got 2 shirts and 2 pants.
I think that is pretty real. Like that probably happens in my house too. There's kids' clothing.
It's kind of crazy how it adds up. Like if I'm going to go to the gym this afternoon, so the clothes I'm wearing this, plus the gym clothes, plus the next clothes I'm going to put on to go to bed. It's 3 outfits.
Do you guys shower in the morning or at night?
Morning.
morning, sometimes twice a day for me.
Really? Oh,
I go to the gym and then I'm gonna sit in the sauna. I gotta shower again.
I could never shower twice.
I'm morning, and then if I do anything.
So what we let's summarize what we think the takeaways
You
are.
have to first understand that you're playing a status game. People probably don't even realize it. I have to sometimes tell my clients when they're like, I kind of point them in the right direction about that kind of stuff. But you have to first realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
Which is most people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like and it's to the extent, like you said, right now you could go buy a $5,000 truck off the lot. Like you could do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's to like the extent of what you're doing. Are you putting everything on a credit card for a purchase that you don't need and don't want?
Right.
That's like the worst thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I do think there's like a dichotomy here. Like I am not trying to say that you should also be like the most frugal person on the planet that never spends their money in excess. And that type of person is also not maybe happy at all because they just never they just do nothing with money. That's not what we're trying to say. It's just being intentional, aligning your spending with things that actually bring you joy, just getting more aware around this stuff's just going to become clutter. So you don't really need it. Don't spend your money on it because you can do better things with your money, whether it's saving it or investing it in things that are actually going to bring you joy.
In Dash Capital Aggressive.
Dude, I've had to battle with the country club thing a ton myself.
That's a good one.
A ton. And I haven't done it, and I'm really happy that I haven't done it. But like,
that's
how many years ago?
That's a good one to talk about.
We were talking about this at coffee this morning. Do you guys think the country club you're at, it's a status game? Why do people go to Oak Hill?
No. So
dude,
I actually feel like I get a return on my investment.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Yeah.
But this is a good one because we could have joined. We were pressured.
We
to
have
join
been pressured
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Places that we couldn't truly afford.
Right.
But why would you do that? For the status of being able to say, I go to X country club.
I'm a member here. I belong here.
That is,
That's like
absolutely.
You guys do a good job with that because I literally ask you why you guys are still at the same place. Not because Clifton's bad, but I'm like, you guys could go somewhere else. And
I get asked that question all the time. And it's like, listen, yes, we could figure it out and go join Monroe tomorrow. And I love that golf course, but it is absolutely not in alignment with anything else.
Right. Is there like anything actually though, like the course is better, the food is better, like actually saying the reasons why you would switch?
Well, everything is better.
Yeah.
But it also is more expensive. And it's you're going from, let's say you're spending $5,000 a year to $15,000 a year. That's that $10,000 a year delta or whatever. This is the point that we're trying to get at, which is what else, would you rather be a member at where we are and do 2 golf trips a year to where you're going next week in Wisconsin, which is going to be incredible. You're going to remember that the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Literally in 50 years, he's going to remember that golf trip.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the point that I'm always trying to make like, every time we spend money, there's an opportunity cost. You could have done something else with it. And so like, that's where getting clear on what is actually slowing down and thinking it through and not just doing it for status reasons. And maybe the status reason would have worked out and it would have actually been a good decision, but just slowing down and thinking through it a little bit more clearly.
Yeah. In like thinking like, what are you, the vehicle ones are kind of like a line. What are you getting out of this? Right. So why are we even a member at a club in the first place? I want unlimited golf with people that I really like.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about those things, but I'm going to play 1 to 2 times a week, no matter what club I'm at. So I can pay 3 to 4 times as much money to do that and maybe I will like those people the same or whatever, but it just doesn't make any sense. I'm getting the same end result.
Right.
I'm playing 1 to 2 times a week.
Yeah.
I like to golf. I'm there for golf.
But then there's also the person out there that's like they just absolutely love the Monroe track.
Yeah.
And there's reasons that it makes sense. Or maybe there's business reasons that make sense. You've got a lot of customers. Whatever.
I just know
there's reasons to do it. We're not trying to say there's no time.
But there are people that just are like, I want to go to an expensive club for the status. Because they say, I golf at X club.
Yep.
And it's a big ticket.
Yeah.
Even being where we're at, it's like, it's an expensive sport.
Yeah. When we were complaining about $13 tequilas the other day, it's a legitimate complaint. It's ridiculous that they're charging that. But like you go to Oak Hill, Monroe, CCR, you're paying $13 for like a well tequila, versus a Casamigos that I'm still upset about.
Yeah, but you guys are going to be golfing at this place in 10 years.
I don't
We
know.
just had that conversation
Yeah,
on
it's-
Tuesday.
we-
It's hard to predict.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
We don't know.
The other part of it is like right now it's like slightly inconvenient for me, right? And probably you don't care about it, but it is.
It's far.
I view it as inconvenient. It's a 30-minute drive.
By the way, convenience can be a core value that matters to you,
Mhm.
Right.
and that could be a big
A reason, yeah.
reason to make it.
Like if I leave Clifton, it'll probably be for that reason. It'll
It's
be
closer?
for convenience. More than likely, it'll be.
Is
for
Monroe
convenience.
is Monroe closer?
Yeah, it's like 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, but then that's not like a huge 15 to 30.
Right.
Not that big of a
we can cut on that.
Yeah.
All right, I think we belabored this point.
I think it's good. Well, we like sprinkle this topic in a lot of our stuff, like the Max Your Dash episodes, the How to Be Happier. Like this stuff all goes together with like just is your money going to the right place for the right reasons?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because if you're attaching your happiness to something that you're buying your money with and it's the wrong thing, it's like going to
And
give you
dude,
the opposite effect.
And it's it literally, I swear, it's an addiction.
Mhm.
It's just as powerful of an addiction as like other addictions.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't know why, it's just a wild thing.
It's
in
so
my
well,
brain.
it's so easy to buy
I think
stuff now.
I think if people thought more about what am I giving up as a result of this purchase and who am I doing this for just more often, they're not going to end up making these decisions.
It's
Right.
a better idea.
And I just never
And your
used to
future
think about
self will
that.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All good?
I think we converted Steve.
No. I think I've gotten better over the years, but no conversion. It comes with time, I think. Because you were as bad as me at one point, dude.
Yeah.
Let's not tell the people what you told to me when I got interviewed by you.
Yeah. I know.
I got hired because of a status game.
I agree.
That's
I'm
crazy. I
ashamed
got
of that.
sucked in.
I probably cared so much about how I looked for that interview to impress
me.
you.
It wasn't even for me.
It was to impress you. I mean, it worked.
And boy, was I impressed. You did it to the right guy.
Oh, God.
Okay, we done?
We're done.
All right, guys. Thanks for
wrap.
listening, watching the Max Your Dash podcast. We'll catch you in the next one.
Securities offered through Securities America Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Security America Advisors Inc. Dash Capital LLC and Securities America are separate entities.